Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5. Welcome to Light Years. Andy, the Warriors get a statement 118-104 win on a Friday night. And by the way, no better time for a Surfside than a Friday night Warriors win. 100 calories, 0 bubbles, all kinds of flavors, iced tea, lemonade, whatever. Pick your poison. It's the perfect time for a Surfside on a Friday night. But let's get to the good stuff here. I don't know if there's any other way to say it. Are we back? Are we all the way back? Where are you at with this right now? Because that was as impressive of a performance as we've seen all season.
Dude, there's no bullshitting it at this point. This is, to me, a championship contending team. I can see them winning a title this season. It's not about this game. It's the accumulation of what we've seen the last 3 games. If they lost tonight, I would have sat across from you. And honestly, it would have been fine. It would have been, it would have done the show, talked about what happened, and then went to go sleep. Would have been okay. Watch a game like that, though, and then you start to think about, man, what does Steph's legacy look like if he wins a 5th championship? That's kind of cool. Is he the second greatest player of all time? It's incredible. It's incredible.
Honestly, let's just stay there right now. Let's just stay there. We, pull back the curtain a little bit for the people here for a second. I'm putting stuff in the rundown as the game's going, Andy. You're looking at the notes. What are we going to talk about today? And I had, is Denver a bad matchup? All kinds of stuff that we were going to talk about. But I think we got to start with Steph. How long can he keep doing this for? Because he looked every bit as spry, every bit as lively as he did in 2016 tonight. That from the opening tip, he was just on one, and it can carry throughout the night. And it felt like he was making a statement like, yeah, Jokic might be the universally known best player in the world right now. SGA might win the MVP, but I'm still fucking here. You better not forget about me.
I don't understand how he looks this good in a 3-game and 4-day stretch, road and then home. And he's hurt. Like, he's actually hurt. He hurt his ankle, then it had a little knee, right? And then he had the pelvic. I don't even know what a pelvic contusion is, but I saw him writhing on the ground yesterday when he fell down against the Lakers, and I'm just like, it's probably a pain tolerance issue. He's probably hurting every single day. It's incredible. And to go back to your point about, hey, Jokic might be the best player in the world, but it isn't Steph Curry. I think people don't seem to understand that in a series, in a game, Steph is still quite easily the best player in that game. Like, he's not often in those discussions enough for my liking. It's always like, oh, he needs this. It's like, nah, dude, like in a 1-game series or just a series, if we want to talk about anybody that they're going to play in the Western Conference, Steph is still the best player on the court. And he showed that tonight. Steph was the best player on the court tonight. You saw Jokic wear down in the second half. And I'm watching Steph run around like he's a freaking 5th grader with unlimited energy. It's ridiculous what we're watching from him. So, and he's 37. It's preposterous, and that's why, to me, it's like, this is a title contending team. The way that Steph is playing right now, and the way that this team is, but just Steph specifically, all of a sudden he's in MVP talks. I'm like, I don't really care anymore about that stuff. But it's kind of funny. It's like, all right, well, we got a nice 10-game stretch here. All of a sudden he's in MVP talks. He's always this good. Just get him a little help, just a little bit, not even that much. We're not even asking for Luka. Just get him a little help, and he's back to being that guy.
And the MVP stuff, that's whatever, but first team all NBA would be very cool. And I think that's legitimately in play now. I don't know if it'll happen, but it does feel like a possibility. I think he's for sure second team at this point with the way he's playing, especially in these national TV games under a spotlight. But he looks so re-energized. And the most impressive thing, like you said, he's injured right now. And a lot of people in the chat are pointing this out, last time we saw butt pad Steph was 2021 when he had that iconic April where he averaged like 40 points a game. But he just looks, I don't know, man. I was watching him tonight and I was just like, this looks like the guy that I saw in 2016. The Nuggets had no answer for him. And early in that game, Nuggets score 44 points in the first quarter. Warriors can't get a stop. Obviously, second end of a back to back, maybe chalking it up to schedule. They're exhausted, long road trip, all these things. And then they started to put the clamps on him defensively. And Steph just looked every bit of his peak for all 30 whatever minutes that he played tonight, 34, 36, however many it was. And again, I feel like we should talk about other stuff and we will get to other stuff,
So
but me personally, I cannot get over that Steph performance.
So specifically, right? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, like specifically what you loved about it. But to me, it's like he's got the ball in his hands way more. I don't see him playing as much off ball tonight as he does usually. He's running pick and roll, going after Jokic, and in those double teams, he's not passing out of those double teams, especially down the stretch. He's just, if Jokic is coming up and not switching and trying to get that double up top, he's just going right by it, which you don't normally see that type of aggression from Steph. You don't normally see him picking the ball up in the backcourt and taking up and saying, Steph only kind of does, he does this thing where he puts his hand down, he waves at everyone to go up the court. He doesn't do that that often. And it felt like he started doing that tonight in the beginning of the game. And the chat's throwing out meaningful basketball. That's he said it many times. Like, to me, this feels like the playoffs. To him, it feels like the playoffs, and he's playing it way differently. I think that's why. And then you combine that with the fact that he's moving way quicker, right? So he's moving way quicker. He's dancing through guys, and then he's taking mid-range jump shots, and he's going to the hole, which he never does. He never takes mid-range jump shots. He never takes it to the hole unless it's a playoff series. If you look at his playoff highlights, he's always going to the rack. Earlier this season, when they were in a struggle stretch, he didn't. All he did was spam threes. And right now, you're watching him. He's playing a game where, this is what people talk about when it's like, oh, like here's what a real point guard does. Like this, he's doing all those things, quote unquote, right? So, I don't think he can play any better than he could right now. Honestly, even defensively, he's great. He's taking charges with the butt pad on. Like yeah, he's in playoff mode. Thanks to the chat, throw it out. Like he's in playoff mode. He's playing like it's the first round. It's the second round. It's incredible.
And I think they know how important getting the rest is for the week and a half. And they, like you said, they're treating every game like a playoff game right now. And we'll talk about this a little bit later towards the end of the show. But like the 3 seed is a possibility after tonight. Like the way that they have vaulted up the standings here is so impressive. And I don't see like any reason for it to stop. They got the Rockets on Sunday. That's a tough opponent. But then after
That's
that,
a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially coming off of, obviously they expended a lot of energy tonight, like a ton of energy. So that'll be a tough one on Sunday. But after that, you got Suns, Spurs, Blazers. So you got a little bit of a lull in the schedule. You obviously still got to win all those if you can. But
Suns with no KD, those should be all wins.
Right. They should all be wins. And, I was joking on Twitter yesterday, kind of joking, kind of being serious, like, hey, let's go run the table, man. Like, why not? At this point, like, you can get yourself into a home court advantage situation after where this season was for a little bit, and you get that full week off. You got home court in the first round. That is about as an ideal outcome as you could have thought of after the Butler trade. Because I think me, you, and Sam, we were all pretty optimistic about it, but we didn't think it would be this. I mean, it's 20-2 with Jimmy now. 20-2 when Steph and Jimmy play. I think 21-5 overall. That is obviously that you're on a 70 win pace there, or 65 win pace, whatever it is. That's the best team in the league, and obviously they've been playing a little bit harder than most teams are since they traded for Jimmy. But at the end of the day, like, you're winning these games. So it's just all been so impressive. And I think tonight was a perfect crystallization of all that.
14-0 with the starting lineup, by the way. A starting lineup that I don't think was obvious. A starting lineup that I think I had questions about, given how small they were. But you watch the game tonight, they gave up 1 million points in the first quarter because of I don't know if it was because they were small. To me, it was kind of like it's just Jokic being Jokic. Like, that's just how great he is. Gordon got a couple layups and Porter Jr. got a couple offensive rebounds. Same with Brown. Okay, fine. But after that, they really, really nailed it down. So the thing with this starting lineup, and I know we're going to get to the defense a little bit later, so I don't want to take the thunder out there. I don't want to talk about that yet. But when you talk about the starting lineup and the difference, the way that they've played since the beginning of the season, now why they're 14-0 with the starting lineup, it's really the IQ and the passing is what it is. Like, to me, I watch this team now, and there's very, very, very few and far between low IQ plays. Like
Mhm.
maybe 4 or 5 low. Like I'm not counting the Steph and Draymond turnovers. It's just those are given. But like other than that, like just very small amounts of low IQ plays, and that's because of Jimmy pushing those guys to spots that Pods, you just gotta shoot threes, man. Like
Mhm.
go shoot threes or get the ball. Like he does this really cool thing. We'll get to later, but he gets the ball. He goes right off the bat. He shoots a midi right. So it just they minimize the lack of low IQ plays slash players with this lineup, and yeah,
Yeah,
great.
and I think we can kind of stay on that point now. Like we've definitely had some issues with the Kuminga fit, and obviously he was fantastic last night against the Lakers. Struggled a little bit tonight, but I thought he still fit in well. But it's kind of like a rising tide lifts all boats situation where like he sticks out like a sore thumb now when he doesn't move the ball, when he doesn't cut, when he doesn't make smart plays defensively, and so they've built this thing so quickly. They built this culture
Yep.
and this fit and this chemistry, like honestly, out of thin air, and it just goes to show what we heard for years. There's no needle mover. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Obviously, Jimmy's a fantastic player and he's going to move the needle for any team. But it just goes to show, like, hey, sometimes you got to take the risk and you got to go. They didn't even go all in with trade, but you have to
They
take the
really
risk
didn't.
sometimes. They traded one first round pick and Andrew Wiggins, but sometimes you just got to take a little bit of a risk, even if it's not ideal. And yeah, sometimes it's not going to go well, but sometimes it's going to work out even better than you think. And that's what we've seen with Jimmy, man. Even like he wasn't great tonight. He had some good moments. He also like missed some layups. We'd like to see him play, I think, a little bit better than he's played right now. But at the same time, like he's brought a sense of toughness and grit and IQ and just unselfishness, honestly, to this team. And from all the stuff coming in, you would have thought it was the opposite, right? He's selfish. He only cares about he only wants his money. He's a problem in the locker room. And from everything we've heard, it's been exactly the opposite.
Um, I am curious. Well, first of all, I'm curious what the injury is. Something about a forearm strain. I wonder how serious it is. He missed a couple of layups today that he never really
Mm,
misses. Kind of point blank ones, not even contested. So it's kind of weird. But the thing about Jimmy, I think people keep wondering when playoff Jimmy is going to happen, when playoff Jimmy is going to happen. You know what I think? I think he doesn't like being playoff Jimmy. I
mhm.
actually think he doesn't like playing that style. If it was up to him, he would just do what he does right now. And he would be happy to average 18, 8, and 8 if he could. Like I don't think he wants to score 28 points a game. I don't think he wants to have the ball in his hands all game. Um, that's not the way he plays. And I think that's why he fits so well with the Warriors. Because I don't think that's how Steph wants to play either. I watched the Lakers yesterday and I was listening to your guys' show. One thing I thought about is the problem with Luka's fit with LeBron is Luka needs the ball in his hands to be a great player. He can't play off ball and he doesn't play defense. So if Luka's not going to get the ball, run pick and roll and spam ISO step back threes all day, he doesn't provide the value that you need. Luka went over 6 from threes yesterday because he's not a standstill spot up shooter. He needs to spam, pull up from three. Now, when you watch back to the point of Jimmy Butler, and you pulled up someone's comment here, Jimmy is like an awesome combo of Andre and Sean Livingston. He is, right?
Yeah.
He's like the super roided version because he doesn't need the ball in his hands, right? He can play defense. He can lock up on defense. Probably not as good as peak Andre, but 70, 85% of Andre.
Mhm.
And then he's got the shooting ability of Livingston and he can make a couple crazy threes too. So I think in that way, it's not it's a perfect style fit the same way that KD was. Just not the same player, but just in terms of like KD can play with any type of style. And I think Jimmy is kind of the same thing where he can play with any type of style. And the Warriors struck gold. Like I don't know if the Warriors thought of it that way when they made a trade. I literally think the Warriors just said, he's a star, let's get a star. I don't care. Let's just get him. Right. Like I think that's what they were thinking, but
Yeah, and
ended up being perfect.
I think Dunleavy might have kind of known because he played with Jimmy for a while and he understood who Jimmy
Yeah.
was. But like most of the guys on the inside, they don't know Jimmy out of seeing some finals runs, right? But he's so smart and he always makes the right play. And like you said, I don't think he wants to score 28 a game. If he didn't have to, he wouldn't. And he's happy to let Pod score 24. That doesn't affect his ego at all.
Oh,
All he wants to do is
he loves it. Yep.
He used to do that with Hero all the time. If Hero was going, he would just feed Hero. Or like Duncan Robinson, he would just feed Duncan Robinson. Like if you go down Jimmy's playoff logs, like he has obviously those 40-point outbursts, those 50-point outbursts, but he also has games where he scores like 13 and they win the game because somebody else gets hot and he's like, okay, it's just my night to feed them. He's so unselfish. And it's funny looking back at all, like they're almost like retrospectives now of like the trade before and after it happened, like in the immediate aftermath. People could not have been more wrong. Like he has just been a perfect fit in every single way. And honestly, man, thank God he's on my fucking team and not somebody else's.
Yeah, that's and the chat's killing it today. He puts
They're going off.
winning. Somebody mentioned, he puts winning above everything else. Jimmy is one of them guys. That's probably the perfect way to put to talk about Jimmy Butler. He doesn't care about anything other than just. I mean, he's lost 2 NBA finals. He just wants to win a championship. And I guess it goes back to what I think I said at the top, which is just watch these 3 games, Tommy. I see a championship contender, a true championship contender. There's no time to hedge anymore, man. Yeah, drinks for Bradley Beal, dude. Shout out to Bradley.
Statue for Bradley Beal.
1 point in 30 minutes tonight, Bradley Beal, by the way.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Let's pay some bills here. Andy, did you play anything tonight on Prize Picks? Because I'm at the point where I am just playing Steph more than on every night. I'm just spamming it. It feels like spam Steph more, spam pods more, and that's just honestly the way you have to go with it at this point because Steph is just like we already said. Steph is just on one, but. As we know, Light Years Podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. Springtime is here and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players in your Prize Picks lineups. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. And with the basketball playoff push here, obviously, again, the best time to join Prize Picks is now. The best place to win cash on your favorite sports. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports stakes into real money all season long on Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on at least a few player stats for your shot to win. So download the app today and use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. Prize Picks, run your game.
All right, Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Body Spec. Body Spec, everybody knows Body Spec. Body Spec's been our sponsor all year long, all season long. Go get your body specs. Go get your DEXA scans, man. Summer's coming up. 65-degree weather day today in San Francisco. You got to get ready for this. Got to get your summer bod ready to go. So get your scans. Go figure out what you need to do. Go figure out how you're doing, whether you need to eat less, right? Whether you need to work out more. The great thing about Body Spec is it's a one-time scan for $59.95. Normal DEXA scans at least double. And the great thing even better thing about it is go to bodyspec.com/lightyearspod. Throw in the Lightyears 45 code at checkout for an extra $15 off. All right, so we're talking about a $45 scan. In just 15 minutes, you get your bone density, visceral fat, lean mass, body fat percentage. It's used by Team USA, used by the Golden State Warriors. They've got brick and mortar stores in SF, Palo Alto, Santa Clara. So they got it everywhere, all around the Bay Area. They got mobile vans in the Bay Area too. Different gyms in San Mateo, Los Gatos, etc. So go to bodyspec.com/lightyearspod, Lightyears 45 code at checkout for $15 off.
Andy, I think we got a special guest to join us right now.
Who we got? Oh my God.
The one and only.
Do not call me a special guest.
No leather vest tonight. I'm shocked.
The people wanted it. People needed it.
That was I appreciated the chat on that one. First off, it was more of a puffer vest. It was more of a pleather. It was a cold night. I was just trying to feel warm. I felt good about myself. Next thing I know, I'm getting Jerry Seinfeld there on the chat, feeling kind of midlife crisis there. But, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I get over it. Currently, my mood with the Warriors is like 11 out of 10. Like, I always get told I'm too negative about the Warriors. And currently, I'm out of my mind with optimism. I was looking up venues for where we're having a title party, Andy. And I was gonna text you about it. Like, are we doing it in the city? Are we too old for the city? Is it gonna be? Are you going to Marin Peninsula?
No comment.
East Bay? Where is the venue for this? You know, because 10 years ago it was a little more obvious. It was a little more obvious for us. Now, you know, I'm trying to be age appropriate, and that's not always the easiest thing, right? You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna end up doing it in like Walnut Creek. I was in Walnut Creek last week, popping downtown, popping.
Walnut Creek is absolutely where we need to be on this sort of thing, you know. And there's a lot of Walnut Creeks around the Bay Area. You know, shout out to the Dub C, the 925, but there's a Walnut Creek in every county.
That's what I was telling Risa. I was like, wait, I was driving past. I was like, what's the difference between this and like Redwood City? It's like kind of the same thing. And she just laughed. She was like, I mean, yeah, it is.
There's no difference.
Exactly. You know me though, Sam. You're like, I don't really know. Like, you know,
what's the difference between that and like Corte Madera? Not that much. What's the difference between that and like a Saratoga or you know, right. There's a lot of pockets of hitting that like comfortable suburban.
Yep.
Shout out Saratoga Water. No free ads though.
Yeah, they know my number if they want in though. No, it's you know, it's trying to be cool, but you're kind of washed type of downtown vibe.
Yeah. Hey, I have real title contention, Sam. Real deal title contention. This is unbelievable. I haven't felt this good about the Warriors in 3 years.
So this is unbelievable. So I was very optimistic about the trade, and I remember saying they're going to go 21-10 with Jimmy. And at the time, I thought I was like being a little too like optimistic. Yeah, because I thought like, you know, you got to integrate them, you got to figure it out. Like there's, you know, they're humans. There's the natural chemistry. Probably gonna drop some games you don't want to drop. All the normal things. They're 21-5. And Tommy, I think you said it. They're 20-2.
Yep.
When Steph and Jimmy play, like, I mean, what would they have? Like a quarter and a half of like awkwardness, not knowing how to play with each other.
Yeah. Literally 20 minutes of that Bulls game, and that was about it. And then it was just like they figured it out. And like they went on a 33-5 run. Yeah, but that did, you know, the refs were trying to give them a stimulus package after the Luka trade. They needed the city of Dallas not to burn to the ground. But you know, if we want to jump back into some game stuff here, Nuggets scored 44 in the first quarter, right? And then after that, 60 points the rest of the game. And I think this is the really, really the first time where I've been like, not only is this defense super, super legit, it is playoff level, like championship level legit. Because that's one of the best offenses in the league in Denver. I mean, Jokic is incredible. Like I was watching that game tonight, watching him and Steph go back and forth, and half of it I was just like, we're so lucky to be watching this right now. These guys are two of the most skilled players in the history of basketball. But the fact that they locked that Denver team down to 60 points in the last 3 quarters is truly, like, I don't care that Jamal's not out there. They still got enough guys who can do stuff. That was insane. It was unbelievable.
How can Draymond not be the defensive player of the year? It feels like every time he makes a big play, he's celebrating himself getting the defensive player of the year, which I think is the funniest part of these last like couple weeks.
I don't think he's gonna win it. I mean,
you don't think so?
Really?
Who do you think they could give it to, Sam? Evan Mobley?
Yes. Ugh, have you seen the media section? Come on, man. It's so much worse than when he used to cover the team.
That's pretty like, good. Yeah. That's fair.
Draymond's, my opinion, first off, he should win it. But my opinion is,
oh my God,
he's probably pissed too many people off over the last decade to get the benefit of the doubt on this thing. And I hope I'm wrong on it. I think it's gonna go to like Lou Dort or Evan Mobley. It's gonna be a hipster thing. It's gonna be someone who hasn't got themselves embroiled in 50 fucking controversies over the whole thing, and like, you know, cool. Canadian MVP, Canadian DPOY. What?
Have we ever seen a guy campaign for an award like this, though? This is impressive stuff from Draymond right now. A full sit-down interview with Malik Andrews.
Yeah, that was weird.
The campaign for Defensive Player of the Year.
Kind of funny, but kind of weird. Yeah, it reminds me of Draymond sending the video of the ring night when after he punched Jordan Poole talking about he's going to therapy. Those were good times. You gotta love Draymond, man. But back to the defense, the funny part about this team is they play so much better in this quote unquote small ball lineup defensively than you could ever do if you put any big on the court. They ended the game with a hilarious loony Draymond Jimmy Butler 3-4-5, which I think they were just like, whatever, let's just get as many stops as possible, and Steph would just shoot shots on the other end, so it's fine. I don't think they'll ever close games like that again, but I do think their smallest lineup, quote unquote, is actually their best defensive lineup because they do have enough size now. They do. Moody is becoming that much better of a point of attack defender, and Jimmy Butler guarding Aaron Gordon was pretty funny. Where it's just two guys that are just like constantly just trying to shove each other off the block. There's like not many moves. There's no moves. There's no tricking. It's just straight into your chest, one way or the other. Just
football.
Just two football guys. Which by the way, it was funny because Aaron Gordon can move Jimmy a little bit, but then when Aaron Gordon tried to move Draymond, Aaron Gordon went backwards. I was like, God damn! It kind of shows you how strong Draymond, and then Jokic can move Draymond, which is probably the only person in the league that can. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious though, you guys, because the Nuggets dropped 44 in the first quarter, and then after that, I think under 30, under 28. Like, what was the change? What you guys see that was the big change after that?
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily anything. They went to some junk defenses. They did like the little box and one with Kuminga guarding Jokic, and I think they just tried to junk it up a little bit. But I think most of it was just getting their legs under them after a long road trip on a back-to-back. And because they just looked a little bit dead defensively in the first quarter, and then the energy just kind of picked up. They started getting more deflections. They started rebounding the ball better. They were getting crushed on the glass in the first quarter. It didn't seem like they could get, even if they ended the possession, they stopped. They got to stop. The possession didn't end right. Because I didn't outside of that little box and one stretch, I didn't see anything they did differently strategically. They just started getting their hands on more passes, and they just started playing with more energy. Like, sometimes it's really that simple.
I think it's pretty cool that Steph, 37 years old, back to back, had more energy than Jokic. Mm-hmm. Like, Jokic is one of the only non-Warriors players and non-like dynasty rivalry players that I like truly respect. Like, he's fucking phenomenal. He's a great player. But you see like his weaknesses and these sort of things. His weaknesses are not skill weaknesses or like IQ weaknesses. It's just kind of like, you literally sorry, that's hilarious. But like,
he needs a DEXA scan.
Yeah, he needs a DEXA scan. Promo code LightYears45, Yoke. We got you. He just doesn't have the legs to hang with the Warriors. So he can destroy the Warriors for a quarter and a half, and phenomenal player. And like, he's going to get his, but like, you saw it at the end of the game. Was it end of the game that Steph has matchup advantage over him? No, Steph just has better legs than him. Like, he can outlast him is really what it comes down to. And like, honestly, I don't really know that there's a better strategy against someone like Jokic, because like, I can't really figure out a weakness for him other than, you know, Steph's in better shape than him, his better condition.
He looked a little Steph-y like in the beginning of the season, where it felt like Jokic knew by the time the third quarter rolled around that he wasn't going to win this game. Like, it kind of felt like that to me, where it was like, where he sat there, was like, well, like, Jamal Murray's not playing. We can't defend these guys. I mean, they put all their defenders on the starting lineup, and they had no chance. They still had no chance. And part of that is Jokic's fault. Like, how many pick and rolls did Steph run today right at him, and it just didn't matter. So, yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But the problem is, like, you put Jamal Murray on the floor, you're not defending either. I don't even know what's wrong with that guy. He's what a weird.
He's always got some type of like soft tissue injury. It's always like a hamstring or a calf or something like that. Because
he doesn't keep himself. Screenshot back up here. DMP fat.
Yeah. Dude, he doesn't keep himself in shape either. It's a culture problem in Denver. In Denver, you know somebody who does keep himself in shape though. Brandon Podziemski.
Yeah.
Is this just who he is? Because like that transition. Is this just who he is now? Because this is like, it's a different player. But in terms of like the leap that he is taking towards the end of a season, I am getting some like 2022 Jordan Poole vibes. Way different player, way different player. But all of a sudden, he's just striping mid-range shots, and that's much easier against a guy like Jokic, who's in drop all night. But he was doing it against the Lakers too a little bit. And if he is this level of offensive player somewhat consistently, Jimmy can do more of that connective stuff. He doesn't have to worry about scoring 25, 28, 30 points a game. But it looks incredibly believable right now. He's not always going to shoot 50% from three. Like, that's just not going to be the thing. But at the same time, it doesn't look unsustainable. At least that's my thoughts just watching these last couple games.
I was waiting for Sam, but I'll jump in. I thought about this mid game, but Sam might be gone. Bye, brother. Love you. He might be taking a leap offensively, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I think Sam and I talked about this I feel like Sam and I talk about this all the time, but it's like he struggled to begin the season, didn't really see any changes after that in his game, right? Remember coming into the season and be like, we want him to put up 10 threes. We want him to do this. It's like, okay, none of that actually happened. Then he got hurt twice. Then he comes back, starts shooting 40+% from three, but it's not the 3-point shooting, Tommy. That's the leap, because anybody can shoot hot from three. If you're a shooter, you can just go 40+% for a couple weeks. It's not that to me, though. It's actually the dribble drive game that's been way better. Because when the hell did Pod start making cannon those 15-footers, right? That's one. Number two, he's now to the point where he's super confident breaking the paint and creating plays off that in control, right? And if he can start doing that, that's when all the, super hyped, like, all right, he's got a little Jalen Brunson to him. Obviously it's like way OD, but it's like, if he's a lefty, he's herky-jerky, he can shoot, he's got a little Grifton into him. But if he's doing all this stuff in control, you can see the confidence that he has start to skyrocket. I mean, partly I probably attribute it to Jimmy being there, so that he doesn't have to do everything himself. But the other part is, I think it's just his comfortability in the system, his confidence, all that stuff, because it's weird to see a player make a leap like at the end of a season like this, but I hope it's real. Feels like it's real. Maybe not the shooting is so like, because that's like kind of crazy to make 7 threes a game, but all the decision making after that is really impressive. Really impressive.
And there's like 100% real. We have a superstar here. Just
love it.
It's 100% real.
Yeah. No, I think, Andy, what you're saying, the one play that like sticks in my mind from tonight was third quarter. He kind of like snakes a pick and roll in front of Michael Porter Jr., drives to like the left block, just pump fakes. Porter Jr. Shoots that little floater. And it's like he's playing so patient. And it looks like the game is, and it sounds so cliche, it just looks like the game is slowing down for him, like it does for a lot of guys when they really take that leap. And man, like I said, if this is real, we were thinking it was going to be Kuminga, right? Like that was everybody's thought in terms of the scoring stuff. But if it's Pods, like I'm not mad at it. It's just somebody that's got to do it. It doesn't really matter who it is. It could be Pods or Moody or Kuminga. Somebody has to take that scoring leap for this team to be a real title contender. And if Pods can do that somewhat consistently, then, I mean, they are as real as it gets. They're as real as anybody in the league.
Yep. Sam, you want anything to add?
I have nothing to add. I'm winning all my agendas. It's time to pay a bill, man.
Yeah.
It is.
I'll go first. Layers Podcast. We're brought to you by Timeline. Timeline, Cellular Health, foundation of our well-being and longevity. With MitoPure supplements, you can support your health by encouraging cellular renewal. MitoPure. What is MitoPure? MitoPure is the only supplement on the market clinically proven to target the effects of age-related cellular decline. MitoPure is the research-backed innovation that locks your fullest potential. Look, man, I get 2 workouts a week. I'm exhausted. I sleep maybe 4 or 5. I'm lucky 6 hours a day. So what I do every morning is I take MitoPure. I got the MitoPure supplements, total game changer, right? It makes your workouts better. You get way more energy. You rest better. You sleep better. You're taking care of your health. You take it once a day. It's easy to take. MitoPure is even shown to deliver double-digit increases in muscle strength and endurance without a change in exercise. So you can keep your routine 2 times a week. Right now, Timeline offering 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/lightyears. That's TIMELINE.com/lightyears. And get your order.
Lightyears Podcast. We are also brought to you by Via. Oh boy, we just got all kind of technical difficulties tonight, guys. You got to stay with me here. Lightyears Podcast brought to you by Via. Remember when you could function on 4 hours of sleep? Yeah, those days are gone. But don't worry, because Via's got something to help you sleep like a log. 500,000 happy customers cannot be wrong. Via is changing the game in natural wellness. Unlock the power of nature with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, perfect for relaxation and rejuvenation. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind. Whether you want to get better sleep, ease anxiety, enhance your mood, or just get high, they have something for you. And I keep telling you guys, the Via CBD gummies are the best thing in the world. You guys got to get on those. Their products range from 0 to 100 milligrams of THC. So these guys have you covered, whether you're looking to microdose or enjoy the more potent effects. So if you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code LIGHTYEARS to receive 15% off and free shipping on orders over 100. And if you're new to Via, you get a gift free of choice. All you got to do is select Lightyears Podcast on the drop down, and that is the way to get the free gift. And it is the best way to support our show. So enhance your everyday with Via.
Tonight is a Via night, by the way. But
oh, absolutely.
Different conversation.
Absolutely. I'm gonna pop like 3 of the CBD gummies and just knock out. It's been a long week.
We got a special guest with us here.
It looks like we might.
Whoa! Oh my God!
Look at the smile on his face. Look at the smile.
Testing. I'm very excited. I was at the gym listening to you guys live, and I just drove 20 minutes from there to my office just because I was thinking I've got to hop on. Yeah, this is a fun time. I've got takes. I feel like I don't have any sort of outlet.
Give it to us.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of my takes are polluted by talking to all of you. So it's one of these things where it's so tangled. I don't know where my take ends and your takes begin.
Doesn't matter. Let it ride.
I like you guys were just talking about the Draymond DPOY thing. I like that he's campaigning for it. I don't get this whining about it I'm seeing in some quarters of the media. And I even would include a guest who's really good on my show, Justin Termini from Sirius Radio. He was complaining about it. I don't know. I like the honesty. He wants it. He says he wants it. He's going for it. We want people to want this award. He's not threatening. He's not using media proxies like LeBron James to get what he wants. This is just very upfront. I don't see the issue. And he deserves it. And I'm sorry. Look, I can't claim to watch every Cavs game, but I will say this, and I like Evan Mobley's defense. It does have the musk of the Marc Gasol Defensive Player of the Year, where there's nothing overwhelming about it, but you have to prove that you know basketball by pounding the table for Mobley.
It is a very hipster decision. They're not a top 5 defense. I don't know that anyone watches the Cavs. Be honest, Tommy, how many Cavs games you watch this year?
4.
Yeah. No.
That's just a mean comment, by the way. But it's like DPOY in general is kind of just a bullshit award. Let's be real. Like, how many people actually take it? Ethan, you're a better person to answer this than me. How many people actually take it with the seriousness of like an MVP versus I got to vote. I got to think about this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's different nowadays. Now that all the awards are public, and that's polluted it because now people don't even just speak from the heart or in a corrupt way, just give it to their friend. They're worried about getting shamed. So I don't know if it's about seriousness. It's more about not getting yelled at on the internet. That's really what these awards have become more about. And yeah, I mean, there are some deserving candidates, certainly. Daniels, man. I mean, I know the Warriors played them somewhat recently. He's just amazing. But one of the reasons why it's a bullshit award, we don't know everything that they're doing out there. It's different from offense. Offense, for the most part, is simply what you do. Like your product is the offense. I know it's a little more complicated than that. You see Draymond. I think Daniels, for the most part, I don't claim to know everything about what he does behind the scenes, but he's a young player. I think his defensive product is what he's doing. We're seeing it. You watch Draymond, he's coaching the entire team like a player coach. We don't know the effects of that. We don't know the effects of everything he's saying to everybody on the back end. I like what Kevin Durant said about him recently. There was some clip. I think he was talking about Tony Allen or talking to Tony Allen, and he analogized Tony Allen to just one of the great cornerbacks, like a Daryl Revis, whereas Draymond was more of an Ed Reed, where he's in the back line and he's making decisions and it's reading and it's reacting. I think that all-encompassing impact, it's just hard to really get a sense of it. I think he deserves it. He has signature plays. The Warriors are one of the biggest stories. And I do think there's some basketball hipsterism, and that's a broader topic. But I've talked too much. I'm excited, guys. I can't help it.
No, it's also look at the Warriors and how bad they would be if they didn't have Draymond defense. We've seen it. Like we've seen it. All this stuff is cute. Like Moody, you're good on defense now, but it's like how much that shit actually matter? How much does that actually matter if Draymond isn't there doing what you're saying? So plus the Warriors don't get enough awards, man. The guy has one defensive player of the year in his whole career. Rudy Gobert has 15. Come on, hand them one over. It's fine. The NBA will live on. It will. They will live. Evan Mobley will win another one. Wemby will win the next one. Give this one to Draymond. He went to therapy. He doesn't choke people out anymore.
I hate that this is the moment where everybody's decided that now is the time where we can't just give out longevity awards or like, well, he hasn't actually been the best defensive player this year. Who cares? He deserves it over Kawhi.
Hey, December. Was he locked in against the Philadelphia 76ers? And
it's ridiculous.
The Brooklyn Nets on that back-to-back in December. Come on, man. Yeah.
In the most important games of the year, he's been the best defender. And he shut down Giannis. Jokic went off tonight, but he almost doesn't count. But the point is, he doesn't have the infrastructure that anybody else has. Mobley gets to play next to another big. Dyson Daniels has big men behind him. Lou Dort is on a team with some of the best defenders in the world. Who is Draymond playing next to? Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody are his point of attack defenders. Jimmy's a great defender. Steph's out there a lot of times. Steph is an average to slightly above average defender, and he doesn't have a center next to him. And he's still doing all of this, and he's been doing it for years. It's ridiculous that anybody would even contemplate saying he's not the best defensive player in the league.
I completely agree, and I wonder, as somebody who has moved more into the casual NBA realm after being on the NBA circuit, I'm reminded of, you guys know the midwit meme? You're aware of the midwit meme? This whole idea where the dumbest and the smartest people come to the same conclusion, but the people in the middle try to demonstrate how smart they are, somehow come up with the worst conclusion, that meme. I feel that way a lot of the time with NBA analysis. I felt that way with the Jimmy Butler trade, where some of the smartest people who had been consuming the most NBA anybody could consume, some of them my friends, a lot of them far smarter and more informed about the NBA, were dead wrong about that trade. Whereas me, now a dumb casual, just went, Jimmy Buckets good. Andrew Wiggins soft. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on right now, where it seems like the dumber you are, the smarter you are in some of these big NBA questions. Draymond defense.
This is the real thing, man.
Some smart person giving an intricate analysis of why it should be Evan Mobley is like Draymond DPOY, Draymond defense. It's just easier.
Well, is that kind of, if you want to really take it all the way back, isn't that kind of the Kobe stuff back in the day, where it was kind of like, is Kobe overrated? He's not efficient, and then it would just be like, well, it's Kobe.
Go.
It's Kobe. I have seen this. I have seen this many times.
So
how
perfect.
Did you pull this up so quick? Holy shit!
I've been circulating it for the day. Don't worry.
It's been in some group chats. It's perfect.
I need that as soon as we finish.
Apply it to the Jimmy Butler trade. I think there are other issues, other topics that are similar, but NBA hipsterism is real. It's competitive. A lot of people watch these games. You can't just have a normal take. You've got to think your way into an abnormal take.
I've actually thought about this before. And my take is that the people that watch every single game need the feel of self-importance to say that these games matter. And I think a lot of the times people don't understand that, hey, maybe people don't take the Thunder seriously because the regular season is a fucking joke. So just because you watch all 82 games and that's part of your job doesn't actually mean that it's that important, because it isn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've thought of it that way, because go ahead, Sam.
I'm going to take a step farther. I think it's
I
actually
know
a
you will.
great example of the NBA losing popularity in the mainstream, because if you're forced to defend these takes just with like normal sports fans, you sound like a fucking psychopath. You know,
Yeah.
like you're forced to, I don't want to say dumb it down, just like bring it to a normal arena of conversation. But if you are in only a hipster sphere where nobody knows what you're talking about, you can be the most condescending dickhead on earth, because
Yeah.
nobody cares about your argument. It's like, oh, obviously you don't know about Lou Dort's DPZM, blah, blah. You know, like that's right. Like that's not, like, you can't do that with the NFL, because everyone is an NFL fan and they just look at you like you're an asshole. But you can do that in these niches of NBA fandom, because they've pushed themselves so far into kind of irrelevance. And wow, now I'm going in a different direction. But like,
Well, no, I think
my point is, like, the more people you talk to, the more you're forced to bring your argument to kind of the table of all people, instead of just living in like your little hipster niche.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to be clear, dumb people can be dumb. To be clear. And I think I would have been looked at the same way years ago if I said, you know what, Andre Iguodala contributes more to winning than Carmelo Anthony. That would be rejected as a hipster take right there, right? But I think what it is, it's just there's so much noise and people get lost in the noise right now. And the salary cap is so complicated, and you need to be an expert on this and that. You can just get lost in the sauce of not realizing, who cares that they're getting rid of Wiggins and a first round pick when they're getting something better. And it doesn't, there's just too much, and I think people can get lost in the noise of it. But it is funny that the more observant you are, the more absurd your takes sound. I was listening to Bill Simmons and Rob Mahoney. I love Simmons, and I think Rob is one of the best analysts, and they could be completely right about this, but it just sounds so crazy to me when they were talking about, I think like Steph, he could maybe get second all NBA team over Jalen Brunson, if Jalen Brunson comes back, and I'm just thinking, that might be true, but it just sounds so crazy to somebody who's a dumb casual like myself. It's just, I mean, if you think of a team,
like you're watching the Warriors, you're watching what they're doing right now, and it's like, you understand Jalen Brunson is a very good player, and the Knicks are great, but it's like, come on, man.
Sam, I'll take it.
There's levels to it.
Hold on, Sam. I'm gonna double back on you. I'll take it one step further. Why is Donovan Mitchell the obvious first team All NBA? Like, what?
No, I mean, like, again, I mean, there's probably a statistical case, but if you're gearing up to play in a series against Donovan Mitchell or Steph Curry, and you're any coach in the NBA, I know that we don't base it off that, but there needs to be a little bit of avoidance of the Karl Malone MVP. There needs to be some sort of recognition of, we know how good these guys are, and it's not just the bare bones of the production, that there's a little bit more to this game. I don't think anybody thinks not, like right now. Maybe people would have thought it because he didn't look as good and Steph was just shooting a bunch of threes and not playing a more complete game early in the season. But at this point, is there anybody alive who thinks Donovan Mitchell is better than Steph Curry?
If you pull it, it would be unanimous. It would be unanimous Steph Curry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or just like ask coaches in terms of the way they would prioritize the way that they like create their defensive game plan. That says everything you need to know.
Yeah. The other funny part too, because the new argument against Steph now that you can put out there, Steph has only made 4 in All NBA first team in his career. So it's like, no, he's only made 4. And how many times in his career has he been the best guard in the entire NBA? Every year since 2014. for 11 straight years. So you could give him 11 straight first team All NBAs for all I give a shit. Like I don't even know what first team All NBA freaking means half the time. Like, why does SGA get all like, I don't know. What has he won? Has he even won a first round series game? I don't even. What are we talking about here?
I mean, SGA is pretty awesome. SGA is pretty great, but
I'm off him.
The matchup thing is interesting. I still regard Denver as scary for the Warriors, even if that was a double-digit win. Didn't you guys feel so helpless in that first quarter? Didn't you feel like,
yes,
here it happens again? They're just too big. They're just too big. They're too big.
But I think Sam made this point. I think over the course of the game, it's just too much for Jokic to deal with. Steph's movement and the ways that the Nuggets can pick at the Warriors with the size and beating him up inside. I think pulling Jokic away from the hoop that many times over the course of a game, he's going to wear down. It looks good when he's hedging in the first quarter and they're dumping it to Draymond and everybody on the backside is active. Eventually that wears out, and now they're just creating open shots every single time down the floor. And I think that's how a series would go. Nuggets would steal a couple from them because Jokic is going to drop 45, 12, and 12 one night. But at the same time, I think it's a 4-2 series, Warriors.
Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but wasn't it weird when Jokic started shooting the threes? And I know a lot of them were going in. But here's a term I'm throwing out there. NBA cats. There are people who they're like cats where you don't know why they're doing what they're doing and they're finicky. Jimmy Butler is a dog, but he's also a cat. We don't know why Jimmy's doing what he's doing. We don't know what he wants. And with Jokic, he's got that little finicky, just what is going on here? Is he quitting on them? Is this some sort of, is he just tired? Why is he?
Shot itself is, I don't know what you do with it because it feels like a bailout behind the head, but it's kind of automatic also at the same time.
Yeah. No, it looked great, but he doesn't play that way. It was early shot clock threes. I know people are saying he's exhausted, but usually people don't. I mean, launching threes when you're exhausted isn't exactly the easiest thing to do over and over again. That was just a very strange moment in the game where in the moment, it felt a little bit like, oh man, can the Warriors withstand this? Is this guy going to go for 60 points again, just going on threes again and again? And then in retrospect, it's, oh no, he was tapping out.
Like, I think that was exactly what he was doing. I think that was exactly what he was doing.
It felt like Steph early in the season.
Westbrook experience meme for him.
It felt like Steph early in the season where Steph kind of knew like, we just don't have it. And you could see Jokic on the bench in the beginning of the fourth quarter. He was kind of whispering to one of his teammates. His head was in his hands. And he's like, yeah, there's just no chance we beat these guys. Like, he was defeated emotionally, mentally, physically. And he knew there was no chance they were going to win that game. So he figures maybe I'll just start launching some threes. They might miss some shots. We can win the math game. But it just obviously didn't work out that way. Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is where he's at. Is the first quarter just going to launch him? Oh. Just quit. Yeah, no. I think it's, to be clear, I absolutely believe it's far more complicated than like Russ. I just think it's hilarious that Russ is in his like fifth team in a row where it's followed this meme, and the Nuggets are absolutely following this meme right now.
It's the Arrested Development meme. It's the Arrested Development meme. Did it work for those other people? No, but it might work for us.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I feel for Jokic too. They built a great team around him and they've made some suboptimal moves. I still fear them from a Warriors perspective as a matchup. Really interesting that the Lakers, people can say it's small sample size theater, but you know what, Sam? I'm feeling the confidence. Andy, I'm feeling the confidence. And I'm not name checking Tommy just because I'm referencing something we talked about on a podcast. Although, Tommy, yes, I'm feeling it. We saw this coming very early. And we're accused. I know some of you might not know. Some people are mean to us. They accuse us of homerism.
You?
And yeah, weeks ago, overreacting to the Jimmy Butler trade, homerism. And look, man, I think this team's a contender, is what I would say. A contender. And so I've got ideas. I'm not going to be worried about it being a small sample size. We're going to go off what we see. I think the Lakers were a bad matchup for the Warriors, and even if it was the worst trade ever that Nico Harrison did, he somehow liberated the Warriors from this bad matchup. Mm-hmm. It's so strange.
And we love Nico. We love Nico.
We do love.
We
Nico.
love.
We do love Nico.
Need to get Joe needs to commission a statue for him outside of Chase.
Yeah.
It's right next to the Bradley Beal statue.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing about the Luka, can we do a little sidebar on Luka as well? Because
Sure,
I
if
just
you
got
want.
these takes, a lot of takes. Okay, so I thought that trade was terrible. Like everybody thought that trade was terrible, but there's this weird thing that happens when 90% of NBA media think the trade was terrible. Then they're bought in on how great Luka is, and they're bought in. They're almost emotionally invested in defending how terrible the trade is. And then when Luka starts playing egregiously, it's muted. The only people honest about it, as far as I can see, are Lakers fans who are losing their minds. They're the people who will react when Luka's doing great, and they're the people who will Photoshop D'Angelo Russell's face on Luka he's playing, how he's playing right now. It's just an interesting dynamic I'm noticing. I thought it was more muted right now. It's just this guy can't get in shape. He's just watching pods jog past him to do floaters. What is this? This is acceptable to everybody? It's a big game. What's going on here?
Well, I think the problem is the roster construction of the Lakers really makes things difficult for Luka. Like when Luka gets to play with Derek Lively and PJ Washington and Derek Jones and just a bunch of elite role players that can defend, he can fuck around and do his thing, right? Dribble, chuck. But Ethan, they're asking Luka right now to be. What are they asking him to be? Like
Kevin Love.
They don't have the Lakers don't have the guys around him to where it's like
they're asking him to be Austin Reeves, and Austin Reeves, you be Luka sometimes.
Austin
Reeves
be Luka, by the way.
Man,
Austin Reeves was Luka last night, but it's like But you've got three guys that don't play defense, and then after that,
again,
it's like I don't get the team.
I felt like this was the midwit meme again, where I reacted when they made that trade. I just went, they don't have enough defense. They don't have enough defense. There's just not enough defensive players to win a title. And everybody else was just going, oh, but when you go from Luka Doncic's heliocentricity and you add in the weak side cutting and you carry the one and add the two, and I'm just, I don't know. They had that weird stretch where they were
it's like over complicating it with like academic terms, or it's like I don't know how to argue that.
Is it the David Lombardi? Do we call that the David Lombardi?
I love David Lombardi. I have a Lombardi theory, by the way. I got a theory. I think the worse the 49ers are, the better David Lombardi's takes are. Because the emotional swings of when it goes bad are so much that being a happy-go-lucky team booster in many ways, that's what people accuse him of. If you're watching this, David Lombardi, that's what they say. I'm not saying that. That's what they say.
No. Why would
But I think it's closer to the truth. I think when the Niners are good, Grant Cohn is closer to the truth. And when the Niners are bad, Dave Lombardi is closer to the truth. So that's just a little football theory.
Should we call this the Fitz corollary? This is the Fitz corollary. The worse the Warriors are, the better Fitz gets.
Sometimes
this was awful tonight. Fitz was awful tonight. That was one of his worst.
He was so ready to say "warm the Jets" like 4 times in the first quarter.
The most improbable victory in the history of the Warriors franchise.
Seventh game in 11 days. First game home from a road trip is a road game. Don't expect anything tonight. Like that's
it was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I've totally lost the thread of whatever I say. No, I think it's really simple. I think the Lakers, there is a casual fan sort of crossover, crossing the streams with the people talking about Luka, and you don't know how good Luka is, and LeBron's media proxies. But man, were they pumping the Lakers for so long is something that, and I could be wrong, maybe I'll be invalidated, but I just don't think the roster. I just don't think the roster was that. And that game did change things. I think from a Warriors perspective, you're not scared of them the same way that you've been scared of them. It's still a little bit of Nuggets. It's still a little Nuggets fear right now. But I mean, this is peak Warriors optimism right now. I don't think there's much fear of anybody, even though you're going to eventually get scared in the playoff series because that's just how it has to happen.
I think the one thing I'll say about the Luka trade is Nico's process was awful. I don't think anybody can argue that. But was he right about Luka maybe being slightly over the hill? Because like this guy has been playing professional basketball since he was 15 years old. He does not take care of his body. Clearly, it doesn't matter to him.
Crazy.
Like his diet is horrendous. That's been reported everywhere. That is not conjecture. That is like factual.
We can see it. He's a
He
professional
can't run.
basketball
He
player.
can't run.
Like 28% body fat. I don't need to be convinced of this, Tommy. We all see it.
Right. So like
the Steph ISOs were pretty gross.
Yeah,
You
they were
saw
pretty.
people.
They were pretty.
Oh.
I don't even know why
Move.
Steph made. I don't even know why Steph made dribbles. Like Steph, just go buy him. I don't know why we need to do the 16 dribble Steph.
If
just
anything, it
God.
made me think Steph was old. I was like,
Luka gets under my skin. I think that this was just an absolute coup by Pelinka, and
Right.
Luka is a basketball genius.
Right.
Caveat. But just there's like a lack of criticism for some of the stuff he does, more so than anybody. There will be calls on him that are 100% correct and obvious, and he will be just screaming angry at the refs.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
funny.
then he tries to grift on the other end. That's what he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
in the last game, where
Yep.
he
yes, did.
fouled Steph on a 3-point shot,
Mhm.
and then he flopped on the other end and earned three shots when he wasn't fouled. Like he's owed something in return, and he's fouling just because he can't guard these guys because he's out of shape. And I just don't understand the lack of criticism versus some other players, because this is a guy who could be all time, and in many ways people are saying that he's already there, he's on that trajectory, and it's just absolutely amazing to me that he is not in shape. That's just it's anyway. I have too many takes, guys.
I feel like we're going back to like the core LeBron criticism, but LeBron actually was criticized in some ways,
Yeah.
where it's the whole idea that like it's unfair to criticize them. But did that criticism that he felt early in his career motivate him to achieve what is ultimately his talent ceiling? Whereas like you see someone like Luka, to your point, more talented than anyone. But like if everyone's just going to sit here and tell him he's great without achieving anything, where is the incentive to actually dive in and kind of get there and actually win a title versus, oh, that was a great playoff series where he scored 35 points a game, but it didn't matter.
I think
it might not work. Sorry, just based on how he argues calls, I can picture Nico saying, "You're not in shape. You're fat." And Lucas going, "No, I'm in perfect shape. I'm in the best shape of my life."
I think it's part of like the modern like hipster media apparatus where everybody wants to put the cart before the horse, where it's like people are now telling us the Thunder are an all-time team. They're one of the best teams of all time. And by net rating and all these like measurements, sure they are. Can we see them win a second round series first? Can we see them get to a Western Conference Finals? Can we see them get to a finals? And if they validate all that with winning the championship, sure, we can call them an all-time team. But it's the same thing with Luka, where everybody's telling us he's already one of the best players of all time. Can we see him like, and he's gotten to an NBA Finals, so he's done a little bit more than the Thunder have. But at the same time, to be all-time status, you have to win at least one. And I feel like that happens too often now with like the same kind of hipster media stuff where you just have to credit these guys and you can't criticize them at all. And that's kind of the place that we're living in now with the NBA.
Yeah, I think that the Thunder, there's admiration for how they've built just this beautiful. It's like they've built a beautiful car, and we haven't seen them take it on the road. You know, we gotta see that. But they've built this just wonderful machine, and Sam Presti has just done these incredible smart things. You can get caught up in that before having them actually prove themselves. And I am really impressed with what they've done. I have a lot of admiration for that organization. And if they play the Warriors in a playoff series, I will be picking the Warriors if the Warriors are healthy. That's just kind of how I see it right now.
Which is insane, by the way. I mean, of course, it doesn't matter what I pick. Of course, I'm going to pick the Warriors. But it's like it is insane. Just look at the NBA as a whole, broadly. If a team that's about to win 70 games is going to lose to it,
it's going to be like 68
games.
Their car is lame.
Yeah. If they're going to win 60, they're going to lose to a team that picked up a guy at the trade deadline. The team led by a 37-year-old guy. look, I would think it's freaking amazing because I can't stand the Thunder. I can't do it. But I don't know. What does that say about the NBA? I don't know. What does that say about the regular season? 82 games, man.
Again, this is the forest for the trees problem where if you're watching every game and talking about it constantly, a lot of analysts and media can adopt this mentality as though you can just spend your point differential, as though you just carry that into the playoffs and go, well, we have plus 200 point differential, so that buys us 3 playoffs. It doesn't work that way. I've seen, again, this is why people are maybe a little slow in the uptake with the Warriors, where they're this team. They're not whatever team that was before that's confounding whatever their overall stats are and point differential is. This is the team that they are. It's the post-trade deadline team. Similar to the Mavericks, when the Mavericks made a move and they weren't the team that was reflected in the standings. And a lot of it does come down to matchups. I think the Thunder have had problems with the Warriors. The Warriors play backwards. The Thunder are a great defensive team. I don't know if everything great about them defensively is necessarily applicable to the weird backwards way the Warriors play.
Yes.
Maybe over the course of the series, possible. And then on the other end, the Warriors hyper switching, I don't think is necessarily what the Thunder want to see. I don't think they want to see a situation where SGA has to go off for over 50 points, which he did in a loss. I mean, they lost to the Warriors twice, and then they won a game where Steph didn't even play by 4, if memory serves. So, look, that we're getting far afield. I don't know if those teams are going to face each other. I don't know who's going to be healthy, but I know the mentality from a lot of analysts is that, oh my God, I'm going with the Thunder, and only a dumb casual fan would go with the Warriors. And I'm here to say I am that dumb casual fan.
And I think a lot of it is like almost the gamification and the 3 true outcomes of the NBA, where like over the large sample, if you're shooting all these threes and you're doing everything correct by the numbers, you're going to win most of your games if you put the right guys in that system. But a playoff series is 7 games. And we've seen this in baseball where everybody is trying to go 3 true outcomes. And they've actually come back to the middle a little bit now where you can't just swing for home runs or strikeouts in the playoffs because the bats go cold for 4 games. And now you lose the series.
People get nervous.
Even though you won 105 games during the regular season. And that's what the Thunder are doing.
Your team.
Lou Dort is shooting 8. Yeah, okay. Let's not go there, Andy. World Series champs. Defending World Series champs.
Finally.
Lou Dort's shooting 8 threes a game. That's great. 38% during the regular season. Is he going to do that in game 4 of the playoffs when they're down 2-1 and they have to win the game on the road? I don't believe that's going to happen. And so if that's what you're relying on, good luck. Maybe it'll work. But that's why I think a team like the Warriors can still find pay dirt in the playoffs because they're not – obviously your role players have to make shots, but they can find offense in other ways because of the way their offensive system works.
If you talk to Draymond, he lives for that argument. This is what he said about the Rockets for years, which is like PJ Tucker not hitting that shot in the real game. Like let's not or who's the
Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
Luka
any of those guys. Like they're not hitting. Yeah, Mbamute. What a pull!
Oh wow, what a cut!
What a pull! But yeah, Clay's hitting that shot. Clay's hitting that shot. But these other guys, like they're not. Like Kyrie's hitting that shot, right? But like all these other guys that are like fake shooters, like the question might be like, is Moody gonna hit those shots? We're gonna find out. Podziemski, is he gonna hit those shots, right? Like for the Warriors, the same question goes with them. Are those guys gonna hit those shots?
Yeah, I don't know anything about war fighting, but I remember somebody who.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't. There was somebody he was saying when people get in a combat situation, he was some sort of combat guy. I don't know what his role was. I don't know anything about it. But he was talking about what happens when a normal person gets in that kind of situation versus a soldier. Do soldiers, do they rise to the occasion? And he said, no, you regress to your training. Everybody gets worse in a situation that's chaotic, adrenaline, all of that. Everybody gets worse, but the soldier with the training regresses. And I feel that's the case with these guys in the playoffs where Clay knows how to be Clay. He's going to regress to being Clay in his peak form back in the day. But some of these role players, you get a lot of confidence in January and maybe get on a little run, get a little bit of rope. They start hitting some shots. When the lights are bright and 7 million people are watching and it actually matters, I think a lot of guys, I mean, do you trust those guys on the Cavs who are killing it in the regular season and racking up the point differential. Do you trust them to maintain that, or do you think that they're going to go back to being role players, and role players don't really show out like that?
I mean, that would be my argument for why the Warriors win the championship, because they have the proven guys and they have role players who can do multiple things, which most of these teams don't.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah.
you brought
I mean,
war fighting to it. Unbelievable.
I mean,
all I'm thinking about is
what's wrong
that
with
scene
that?
in Saving Private Ryan. Yeah,
Oh,
you know what
man.
I'm talking about, Ethan. It's very morbid. Just like
The
hand-to-hand combat.
the nervous guy while his friend's getting killed, which, by the way, I don't understand the physics of that scene, because the German soldier, I believe,
We're
if
not
memory serves, he's stabbing his friend through the heart, but he's doing it slowly with two hands on the knife, and I'm going, the guy's got two hands on the knife, you can't fight him off? I mean, how Hollywood is that? That doesn't make any kind of sense. What sort of jiu-jitsu lack of training is that? But anyway,
We're the same age.
yeah,
That movie came out when we were
97.
yeah.
yeah.
We're now the Matt Damon old guy.
I'm just saying, like, hey, shout out to the director for developing a scene that like stuck in my mind for fucking 30 years in a very disturbing way.
Well, I hope you're no longer traumatized after I explain that it's impossible. And it's just the victim. The victim is
Really,
just sort of like,
Jokic
I guess you got to slowly do this to me.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, Ethan, final take before we get you out of here. What do you got?
I don't know.
Or before
man.
we get out of here.
I can't just. It's like when somebody says, say a joke or say something funny. I don't. These takes have to come to me.
Do you miss when people are like, Ethan, go do Radio Ethan? You miss those days? Go dance for us. You miss those days?
I mean,
I miss Radio Ethan.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't know. So I didn't know that there. I had no awareness of how many people would want that or ask about that afterwards or whatever it was. And then when I started developing some other takes that people on the internet didn't like, it became one of those. He always was Radio Ethan. I feel weird talking about myself in the third person.
Now we just call it your Substack. Now we just call it the Substack. That's
a guy disguised as another guy playing another guy.
Yeah, dude disguised as a dude playing another.
But
dude.
Radio Ethan, I mean that some people probably who are hearing us have no idea what we're talking about. But the whole idea is I just acted like this bombastic radio asshole who was being insulting and getting these takes off. And it was about acting dumb. So you could. It was easy in a way because if I thought up something clever, I could just say something clever. But if I couldn't, then I'd just say something dumb, and that worked even better. And it does, I think, scratch, to bring it back to the midwit meme, it did start to scratch that itch because there was this dearth in official media. The NBA media is so soft. You got to go to YouTube to hear people talk honestly about players. And so it was just fun to just get some insults off and say some stuff because I think the conversation got very much paralyzed in official NBA media where it's all about appreciate everything, appreciate that sort of deal.
Do you know how many players can do this? I should appreciate it.
Steph and LeBron, appreciate Steph and LeBron. I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, dude, we've been saying this shit for 5 years. We're gonna have another 5 years of this.
I don't need to appreciate.
We're gonna appreciate
LeBron. Everyone's telling me to appreciate LeBron all the time.
I just want answers on where he was at the memorial. That's all I want.
He wasn't there. He wasn't fucking there. Okay, he wasn't there.
Pablo said he wasn't.
If you have to ask, if you have to fucking, he wasn't there.
I just love. Some people don't know that story. What I love is how defensive people get and angry people get. It's just, I don't know. He could just tell us he was there.
It's not that complicated.
And if he wasn't there, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's the
Everybody mourns differently, guys. Okay, everybody mourns differently. It's totally normal that LeBron was asked if he was at the memorial and wouldn't answer the question, and Rich Paul wouldn't answer the question, but said he was in his own headspace. But then Lakers sources told the LA Times that he was there, but nobody can remember him being at Kobe's memorial. It's all very natural and normal that Stephen A. Smith accused him of not being at the memorial, then had to retract it. Only LeBron's side never said he's there and will never say he's there. It's all just a very normal thing that you're evil and you're just offending the gods.
Everyone mourns differently, guys.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't
just-
even know how. It's such a perfect play. This is how we ended up here.
This story is so weird. It's just the weirdest story. And LeBron, to be clear, never lied because he never said he's there or not. It's just living in this liminal space. Or maybe he was
He did actually never touch it. That's actually the really funny part about it, where never talked about it. No, he didn't go on camera going like at the
No, he got asked directly by Dave McMiniman at a practice on camera, and he wouldn't directly answer. McMiniman put it just directly, "Were you there?" And he's like, "Oh, emotional day. I know." He was like saying that, "I know you got to ask that question." He said something like that, and then didn't answer the question, and it's just so weird. It's very weird, and you're a tabloid gutter journalist if you have any question about whether LeBron was at the most watched memorial of my lifetime. That I don't know. It's just a very strange one that was drummed up. Yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah.
Appreciate him.
Oh,
Appreciate him.
Gotta appreciate
Ethan.
He's a great player. That's it. Just last take. Amazing in that game. Luka could learn a thing or two. But yes, sorry, I stepped on your outro.
He could learn.
Ethan, you're good, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Much love.
Thanks for hosting me, guys. Thanks, chat. Thanks, listeners.
I mean, I think we'll end it right there, everybody. Thank you for staying with us.
Sam's like,
Steph's the GOAT. Night. See you guys next time.
Appreciate you, Ethan. Thanks, man.
See ya.
All right, Tommy. All right, guys.